Achilles. My name is Francesco Magisano, and I'm the director of Try Achilles. This is the second workout of week 1. The first workout was a threshold workout, 6x4. This is the second workout. Hopefully you put a day of rest in between. And today we're doing a VO2 max workout. Now, the second workout of all 3 of these weeks will be a VO2 max workout. Now, just a real quick explainer of what VO2 max really is. It's technically not a workout modality. It is actually a process. It is a process with which our bodies take in oxygen, use that oxygen, and shuttle the waste products away from our bodies, from our muscles, outwards. So we're actually training the VO2 max uptake process, but for short, we'll just say VO2 max workout. Why do we want this? Why is this important? It's important because we obviously need oxygen, our muscles need oxygen to perform at a high level. And so even if, whether you're a sprinter or a marathon runner, having that utilization of oxygen is very important. So today's workout will be a very typical intro to VO2 max workouts. It's basically 16 times 1 minute hard efforts followed by a 1 minute rest. So basically 1 minute on, 1 minute off, 16 times. And we're gonna break it in half. So we're going to do 8 and 8, right? So let's break that 16 in half so it's a little more manageable. So the workout will look something like this. Do a warm-up, right? Get yourself nice and warmed up, whether it's like a 10 to 15 minute easy aerobic run or a bike or a spin, maybe put in a couple pickups. Basically, do the warm-up, and then the workout will be 8 times 1 minute hard efforts, and we'll explain what those hard efforts, how hard to make it. We'll explain that in a second. But so 8 times 1 minute hard efforts followed by 1 minute easy efforts, right? And then after those 8 times, you take a 3-minute easy break. And then you do 8 times, again, 8 times 1 minute on, 1 minute off. So it's a total of 16 hard efforts inside of the workout. So how do we know how hard those hard efforts should be? So we talked about with the threshold workouts that this should be exactly or around your threshold, which is about your 5K pace, about 100% of your FTP, depending on what your modality is. For these VO2 max workouts, if you're on a bike, they should be about 110 to 120% of your FTP. If you're running, they should be at or slightly slower than your mile time. Basically, we want to make these very challenging. And remember the tip from the first workout. The way you can self-assess yourself to know if you're doing this as hard or as easy as they should be is by comparing the first few efforts to the last few. So because we have 16, we want to make sure that the 14th, 15th, 16th 1 minute interval is as fast or as powerful as the first 1, 2, or 3, right? We don't want to come out the gates blowing the top off on the first few and then we're kind of fading off the rest of the workout, right? We want to keep it nice and even and consistent. So just pay attention to that. So if you're finding yourself starting off really strong and then just kind of petering off towards the last half, the last 8, then you clearly started off too strong. Similarly, if you're able to really push hard on the last few and you're actually pushing harder than you did on the first few, then maybe you should push a little bit harder in the beginning. We just want a nice, even effort, right? So for someone, just to throw out a few examples, for someone who runs a 6-minute mile for a 5K pace, you want these efforts to be about a 5-minute mile, 5:15, basically challenging, right? If your 5K pace is like a 12 or 13-minute mile, then maybe make these efforts, these 1 minute efforts, like an 11-minute pace, maybe a little faster, slower. Again, it depends on the person, but feel it out, right? Feel it out. Try to make the last ones as challenging as the first ones. On the bike, again, start with 115% of your FTP if you've never really done these before. And just see how it goes. If you feel like if you've done the first 6, 7, 8 and it's pretty easy, then maybe turn up the intensity a little bit. So basically, that's the workout for today. It's a VO2 max workout. Again, 2 times 8 by 1 on with a 1 minute recovery. The tip for today, remember, each workout comes with a tip of the day. The tip for today is to do a proper warm-up, and I'll give you an activation to do for your warm-up. So we can recognize what muscle group we use in our movement. So for runners, right, let's say we want to get a little hamstring activation before we do the warm-up. Instead of just doing an easy run as the warm-up, let's do a little bit of activation. So we'll talk about different types as the weeks progress, but we'll start with a very basic one, which is butt kicks. And so what that basically is we want to keep our knees pointed down to the ground, right? We don't want our knees coming up in front of us. We want it pointed down to the ground. And instead, we want to bring our heels up to our butts, so it's like butt kicks. And we're basically running in place, but our heels are coming up towards our butts. And again, our knees are not coming out in front of us like this. They're actually staying, the knees are staying in place, and our feet are kicking up behind us, and our heels are tapping our butts. What this will help with is activating our hamstrings, getting it in a fuller range of motion than we would do when we normally run. And it helps with a higher foreleg recovery in the recovery portion of a run, which tends to speed up cadence a little bit, tends to be a little bit more efficient. Same with cyclists. For cyclists, we use a lot of posterior chain, not necessarily our hamstrings. Our hamstrings tends to be sort of the off-bound or the balancing antagonist muscle to our quads. But we can still use activation such as glute activation or quad activation, such as doing some full body weight squats before we get onto the bike, just to make sure that those muscles are warmed up and moving them in a longer range of motion than what they would normally be doing on the actual bike or the run or whatever it is that we're doing workout-wise. So that's a VO2 max workout for today. Do the workout. Post your results on social media, tag me, tag Achilles, let us know how it went, and we'll see you on the third and last workout of this week, which will be a nice long smell the flowers kind of workout. You'll see what I mean. All right, cool. Have a nice day. Go Achilles.